So again, Hadar Adnan's case is just one of many. His hunger strike calling attention to a larger problem of people being arrested and held without charge or trial, with no opportunity to defend themselves. Now, there is a growing movement with various efforts to protest administrative detention. This was something that, again, was not brought up over the weekend at AIPAC and has not been widely dealt with or publicly discussed against prominent Israeli leaders. So we felt like we should talk about it here. And joining me now for more from London is human rights advocate Ken O'Keefe. Hey there, Ken. Let's start with this. I mean, this practice goes far beyond what is permitted by the Fourth Geneva Convention, and yet there are reportedly at least 300 cases of it. Talk to me about what's going on here.
Well, it's as if we're living in medieval times now, isn't it? I mean, there is no due process of law in Israel. I myself have been in Israeli prisons on more than one occasion, and I have experienced what the treatment is like. As somebody who had public attention, you can imagine what it's like for the Palestinians, including children, who are put into these dungeons and stripped of any kind of right that any human society with any decency would give to all of us. It is frightening, as the young man testified to in your report just now. I have met dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of leaders in Palestine who have been imprisoned. Every single one of them have been tortured while they're in prison. It is as grotesque as it gets.
We had a guest on our earlier show who said that one of the sort of methods here is to first arrest the children, the young people there, to get testimonials from them, also through torture, whether physical or psychological, and to sometimes use that as evidence. How prominent do you think that practice is, and how much do you think people in Israel actually know what's going on?
Well, I think the American people are as stupid as the Israeli people, both heavily indoctrinated societies. Most people in the West are obviously not doing enough to stop their governments from being complicit with Israel. I find it reprehensible that we as people don't recognize that these people are our brothers and sisters. We should be treating them as such and doing everything we can for them as we would our own brothers and sisters. And despite this reality, instead what we do is allow our criminal governments in Europe, America, to sit there and pay out some lip service every now and then, but give Israel all the support it needs in the form of arms, in the form of financial support, political support, UN resolutions being vetoed. Everything that we can do as a society that claims to be civilized, we're not doing. Our governments are just as criminal as Israel, and this will continue to go on as long as we think of these people as less than our fellow human beings.
And when you talk about some of the legal arguments being used here, at least from what I understand, part of this practice does fall within the law to not disclose evidence against prisoners. They often say that the evidence that they have, the prosecuting attorneys, that it comes from Palestinian collaborators whose lives could be endangered if the evidence were disclosed. Of course, that means the person in custody often can't extend himself. To what extent do you think that the people using these practices have been held accountable, or does it just go on in just about every case?
It just goes on. It's a matter of course. And, apartheid, South Africa was just slightly more honest about it. Israel has, laws that aren't supposed to be broken. They haven't institutionalized it as much as apartheid South Africa. Every law, however, that might be there to actually protect the Palestinians doesn't matter, because the Palestinians, in the eyes of the power structure within Israel, are subhuman. In fact, many dogs would be treated better than the Palestinians are treated on a daily basis. That is just a fact. As far as secret evidence and whatnot as well, again, I've been in Israeli jail on 2 different occasions. I've been beaten while in jail. I've had secret testimony used to deport me as a, quote, security threat from Israel. So it's been done to me personally. It's being done to the Palestinians every single day.
What do you think, Ken? I mean, this case of Hadar Adnan has certainly gotten a lot more people talking about it. If you look on Twitter and Facebook, more people, certainly than even a week or 2 ago, are talking about this, know about this. To what extent do you think this has an effect, an impact on changing things?
I think it's absolutely massive. Bobby Sands in Ireland is loved till the end of time for what he did, the sacrifice he made in fighting the British tyranny. And these brothers and sisters, Hannah Shalabi, who's now in day 18 of a hunger strike, what a beautiful young woman she is. Love and respect to her and all of her family. And as much as I don't want to see any of my brothers and sisters dying, I think it would be well for them to all go en masse on hunger strikes. And if it needs to happen, that many more die, then guaranteed there will be that many more people around the world who will see what Israel really is. A truly rogue state that is threatening the safety and security of all people on this planet, not just the Palestinians, raver saddling with Iran, tempting a third world war and potential nuclear Armageddon. This is the state of Israel.
Ken, you were talking about apartheid South Africa. Apartheid in Israel is something that, I've been reading more and more about, that because of some of these policies, that could be what's next for Israel. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
It is just, if you listen to Nelson Mandela, if you listen to Bishop Desmond Tutu, if you listen to what they say that it's even worse. Israeli apartheid is even worse. And I believe that's definitely true. And you could have hardly treated the people of the black South Africans any worse than the white racist apartheid regime. Again, I think, Palestine is a microcosm of the world. It really is. The way of Palestine is the way of the world. We have allowed the Israeli state to treat the people of Palestine as if they were dogs for decades. And if we continue to allow this to happen, then shame on us all. And I reckon now with the passage of NDAA in America, I hope Americans get to rot away in dungeons indefinitely, just like the Palestinians, just like the Afghanis, just like the Iraqis. It's an absolute disgrace and shame on us for not opening our eyes, seeing this, and stopping these tyrants right where they are.
You're talking NDAA, you're talking, of course, about the National Defense Authorization Act. Attorney General Eric Holder sort of defending that in a speech today. We will have more about that here on RT later in the coming days. But I want to thank you for joining us from London, human rights advocate Ken O'Keefe.